Somebody types cheapest way to soundproof a room into a search bar at 1 in the morning, and what comes back is a shopping list. Buy this, stick it there. I've spent years watching people follow that list. They put $200 or $300 into the problem and get nothing back. And the part that sticks with me afterwards is never the noise, it's the receipt. So here are 11 fixes, cheapest first, working up to the one thing I think is worth real money. Every one of them costs you something that isn't money, and that's the part these lists leave out. Number 1 is the first thing I check on any job, before I go anywhere near a wall. Close the door and push on it. If it rocks, if there's any play in it at all, it isn't sitting against the doorstop, and there's an open air path running the whole way round it. An air path is a sound path. The fix is the strike plate, which is the little metal fitting screwed to the door frame with the hole your latch drops into. Loosen the 2 screws, shift it 1/8 of an inch toward the stop, tighten it back down. Now the door pulls in harder every time it latches, and on a lot of doors, that alone takes out most of the play. If it won't shift far enough, take a small file to the edge of the hole instead. I've had doors where that one adjustment did more than the weather stripping I put on afterwards, and it's the only fix in this video that costs you nothing but 15 minutes. Make sure the deadbolt still throws cleanly before you walk away. That's the whole job. Once the door sits properly, you seal it. Number 2 starts on the hinge side, because that's the edge everybody gets wrong. Along the latch edge and across the top, your seal goes on the doorstop, the raised lip the door closes against. On the hinge side, it can't. That edge swings through an arc rather than closing straight on, so it shears across anything you stick there, and inside a month, you're picking shreds off the carpet. It goes on the flat face of the frame instead, where the door meets it square. For material, I use brush weather stripping now, rather than the compressible foam tape. The foam's cheaper, and it lasts about a season before it flattens out and stops touching anything. Brush seal is dense bristle in an aluminum carrier, $10 or $15 for a door, and it holds its shape for years. Then there's the part nobody warns you about. Ask a locksmith what he thinks of weather stripping, and watch his face. Every seal you add pushes the door out a fraction, which shifts the latch and the deadbolt out of line with their strike plates. A serious share of his callouts are doors that stopped locking because somebody sealed them. So fit it with the door shut and the bolt thrown, mark where it lands, install, then work the lock 10 times. If it binds, file the plate until it stops. Number 3 is the gap along the bottom, and before you close it, you need to know what it was doing for you. That undercut is the biggest hole in the room. It's also a piece of your ventilation. Plenty of houses run one central return duct in the hallway, and the gap beneath the bedroom door is how air gets back to it. Seal that and the room stops circulating. It goes stuffy and humid, and your heating and cooling stops reaching it. It matters more anywhere fuel is burning. A gas furnace, a water heater, a gas dryer, an open fire, all need air to burn. And starving one produces carbon monoxide, which you can't see or smell. Put a working alarm in, and if the space is a furnace or utility room, leave the gap alone until a heating contractor has told you where its combustion air comes from. So I'd test it before committing. Roll a blanket up against the bottom of the door and live with it a few days. If the place turns close and stale, there's your answer. If it stays comfortable, fit a U-shaped door sweep, $10 or $12, cut to width, slide straight on. Cut it to the full width, because a 1/4 inch short at either end leaves the exact leak you were closing. I like the U-shaped kind over the screwed-on sort here, because it slides back off in 2 seconds if the air turns out to be a problem. $20 a window, and it works better than any curtain sold for the job. Number 4 is a window plug. Get a flat moving box and 2 moving blankets, about $10 each, less on offer. Cut the flattened cardboard to a friction fit inside the window recess, wrap 1 blanket around it, and wedge it in. Hang the second blanket over the opening on industrial Velcro stuck to the frame, so it seals at the edges rather than hanging loose in the middle. The edges are where the work happens. You've now got mass and a closed air path at once, which is the only combination that does anything. It takes the edge off voices and street racket. The low rumble of a truck needs real weight, and there's no cheap way to get it. One caution here isn't optional. If that's a bedroom, the window may be the emergency escape opening. The residential code puts a floor of 5.7 square feet of clear opening on those, and it requires they work without keys, tools, or special knowledge. A plug you wrestle out fails on both counts. Use this where the window isn't the escape opening, or build it to lift away in one movement with nothing holding it. Two smaller ones. A moving blanket in direct sun comes apart, so put a light-blocking curtain between the two. And if you live somewhere warm, don't leave cardboard standing in a window for months. Roaches love it. Number 5 started with a tenant who had a shared wall, a landlord, and no permission to put a screw in anything. What worked was a tall bookcase pushed up to that wall. Staple a moving blanket to the back panel, or mass-loaded vinyl if the budget stretches. Slide a mineral wool bat in between the case and the plaster, then load every shelf. Books are dense, they're already in the house, and you're not paying for them twice. That's mass with a bit of cavity behind it, which is what a proper wall assembly is, built out of things you already own. There was a band rehearsing on the far side of that wall. Afterwards he could still hear them, and he could no longer tell you what they were playing. I've put that same thing together 3 or 4 times since, and it's what I reach for when somebody can't touch the structure. What it costs you is damp. Don't pin soft material tight against a cold outside wall. Leave the case a finger's width off it and let air move behind, or you'll pull it away in a year and find mold on the plaster. And know where it stops. This one wants a stud wall. Against solid concrete or block, I wouldn't spend the money, because the wall already carries all the mass it needs and the sound is arriving by some other route. Number 6. Take the cover off a plug socket on your shared wall and see what's behind it. Kill the breaker first, then confirm it's dead with a non-contact tester, because breakers get mislabeled and the screw terminals on that outlet are live and easy for a screwdriver to find. With the cover off, you'll usually see a decent gap between the drywall and the electrical box. Most interior walls carry no insulation, and that hole lines up more or less with the identical one on the far side. 2 people standing at those outlets can hold a conversation through the wall. If the gap's wide, push in backer rod, which is soft foam rope, a few dollars a roll. Then run sealant over the top of it, sealing the box to the drywall and nothing else. Keep caulk away from the outlet itself, or whoever changes it next inherits a mess. The lazy version is a foam faceplate gasket, $1 or $2 each. Cover off, gasket on, cover back. Where you can reach behind the box, from a garage or an unfinished utility space, use putty pads. They wrap the whole thing, they're fire-rated, and containing fire is what they were built for. I'd do both sides of the wall, wherever I could get to them, and expect a few decibels on voices and television. That's a genuine result for about $5 a socket. Number 7 isn't a wall or a window at all, and almost nobody covers it. Where a house runs forced air, every room it serves is joined to every other room by a metal tube. You can spend the entire budget on that shared wall, and there's still a pipe running over the top of it, connecting the 2 rooms directly. That isn't a fault in the system, it's the system doing what it was designed to do. And it's why some rooms never go quiet, however much gets bolted to the surfaces. What you can do about it cheaply is the last stretch before the register. Insulated flexible ducting, curved rather than run dead straight, kills far more of what travels along it than bare rigid pipe does. A heating installer I've worked alongside swaps the final 5 feet on any job where somebody complains about hearing the room next door. If that describes your house, that's the call I'd make, and it'll do more than another layer on the wall would. What you must not do is block the register. That's the air rule again, and it holds here exactly as hard as it does under the door. Number 8 is where the noise isn't in the air at all, and it's the one I get asked about more than anything else. Start with the cheap half, because it works. Little rubber feet, a felt and rubber pad, or an old pair of flip-flops cut into squares, under the bed, the desk, and the sofa. Deep rumble from traffic, or a subwoofer downstairs travels up through the floor into the frame of whatever you're lying on, and something soft under each leg breaks that path for $4. Get the head of the bed off the shared wall while you're there. 6 inches of air is free. Now the hard half, the neighbor upstairs who stomps. Footstep noise isn't airborne. It's impact, put straight into the structure, running along the joists, and coming out of your ceiling as sound. Mass won't stop it, ceiling won't stop it, and neither will anything with the word acoustic on the bag, because none of them touch the path it's using. 2 things do work. Decoupling your ceiling from the joists with isolation clips and resilient channel, which is construction and runs into 4 figures, or carpet with a proper underlay in the flat above, which is cheap, effective, and not yours to install. If you rent, that second one is a conversation with your neighbor, and I've seen it go well more often than people expect. What I won't do is point you at a rug and let you think it solved something. Everything so far has been about noise arriving. Number 9 is about the noise already in the room with you, and it can cost you nothing. Absorption pulls the echo out of a space. It makes a room sound less harsh to whoever's standing in it, and it makes your own voice on a call sound like it was recorded somewhere with furniture. What it does not do is quieten you down for the person next door, and that's the confusion the whole product category is built on. The free version is genuinely free. Walk into a carpet shop and ask what happens to the sample squares when a range gets discontinued. They get thrown in a skip, they're dense, and they arrive with finished edges already on them. Loaded bookshelves do the same work. So does a heavy blanket hung at your back. Put them where the first reflections land, which is the wall behind you, the wall in front of you, and the first bounce off each side wall. 4 patches, not a room. I've never needed more than that in a bedroom. That last part matters more than it sounds. Lining an entire room in foam or carpet underlay puts a very large area of fast-burning material across your walls and ceiling, and that turns a nuisance into a fire risk. Treat the reflection points and stop. Number 10 is a word rather than a product, and the word is acoustic. It's the most expensive thing in this video. Printed on a label and the price climbs. Acoustic sealant against ordinary flexible sealant is the clearest case. What the premium actually buys is a compound that stays rubbery instead of going hard and cracking, which genuinely matters on a doorframe that gets slammed. That's a real property, and there's ordinary flexible sealant on the next shelf that has it too, for less. Foam is the same story with a worse ending. It does absorb, and I keep a couple of panels behind my own desk. But look at the low end. At 125 Hz, roughly where a neighbor's television sits, the maker's own published test on 2-inch panels reads about 0.11. Good up high, close to nothing down low, and absorbing was never blocking regardless. Here's the other side of it, because this isn't all marketing. A voice artist I know pays the premium for proper acoustic blankets over heavy-duty moving blankets, and he'd do it again. They're thicker, they're denser, and they hang better. And when you're working with them every day, that difference earns its money. Sometimes the expensive one is the right buy. Just check what the extra money is actually getting you. That leaves number 11, and it's the only thing here I'd tell you to spend properly on. Another layer of drywall, straight over the board that's already up. Go 5/8 of an inch rather than 1/2 inch, and the reason is weight. 1/2 inch board runs about 1.6 pounds a square foot. 5/8 runs about 2.2. That difference is the entire mechanism, because heavier walls pass less sound, and there's nothing clever in it. Screw it through the old board into the studs, run damping compound between the 2 layers if the budget reaches, and stagger the joints so they don't land on the ones underneath. The material isn't expensive, and I've never met anyone who regretted going 5/8. What it costs you is a weekend, a mess, and somebody to help you lift, because a sheet that size is heavy enough to hurt you on your own. The order is what makes it worth doing. 2 layers of drywall behind a door with a 1/4 inch gap under it is money lying on the floor, because the room is only ever as quiet as the worst hole left in it. Do numbers 1 through 3, and you've already closed most of them. Make the door fit, seal it, sort out the air, then start adding weight. That's the order on every job I've done, and the first 3 of those come to under $30 between them, with one of them free, which is an awkward thing to have to say to somebody who arrived here ready to spend. Tell me in the comments which one of these you'd never heard of before.